Hello, everybody. Uh, going to talk today about this new movie that I just watched, New York New Rules, Scream 6. And this is kind of something that I want to start doing in this channel also because I'm a fan of movies. I love to watch movies, series. I watch a lot of movies and series. And well, I just want to share my opinion with you and talk about what I think about them. Mm, I'm a big fan of thrillers. I really like thrillers. I like the Freddy Krueger Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I think those are probably like my favorite thriller movies. Um, I like any movie where basically there's like a psychopathic killer killing everybody, not really the horror or the supernatural movies, but more of the thriller ones. So, yesterday I went to watch Scream 6, this new movie. And I mean, I'm really happy, first of all, because the thriller genres are still active. I love the use of the word motherfucker in the movies because even though we're in 2023, we still hear motherfucker, a lot of cussing, right? A lot of fuck you. I really like that. I mean, the movie is aggressive in its nature with the killings, right? With the guts like fucking spilling out and everything, and also it's aggressive in its dialogue, verbally, right? With the swearing, with the heavy use of cursing and shit. So I really like that. The Scream movies, well, the first one came out in 96. So we're almost to 30 years with this. Now they call it a saga, right? A franchise. I think that's what they're really self-reference. They use a lot of meta dialogue, where they basically try to explain what the movie is about. Because if you have seen, I think from the fourth one to now, they basically talk about their own like tragedy and everything that's happening in that world. They talk about it from like a meta perspective, right? Like it's happening. And I think this was kind of a creation from Wes Craven. Wes Craven is was the creator, the director of the Freddy Krueger movies, Nightmare on Elm Street, right? And in the, I think it's the seventh one, Wes Craven's New Nightmare, he basically starts doing this meta thing where like the movie is unfolding as they're making a movie in the movie, right? And according to whatever the writers say is happening, or the writer says is happening, that's what actually ends up happening, right? So it's like this meta type of thing that starts happening. And Scream, basically it's a creation of Wes Craven too. But rest in peace. But he's basically this also, you can also see this because they explain what the order, for example, of a first movie, a sequel is going to be, the third movie in any type of like movies like this. What happens, right? Where like in the third movie, they always go back to like something that happened in the first movie, etc. So there was like a break because I think the first and second one were like a year apart, and then the third one came out I think in 2000, 2001. And then it was like 10 years before another Scream came out, which was Scream 4 in 2011. And then I think just last year Scream 5 came out, which wasn't called Scream 5, it was just called Scream. And this year Scream 6 came out. So spoiler alert, last year they killed Dewey, right? So if any of you have seen the Scream movies, um, the main protagonist or the main people are Sidney Prescott, who's the one that they're always after, Gail Weathers, who's a reporter, and Dewey, right? Dewey was like the police officer who then had a relationship with Gail Weathers. They killed like honorably, they killed Dewey in the last movie, right? I really like that part of the movie because like like the killer, Ghostface, right? Whoever it was that in that movie, he stabs him and he's like, it's an honor, right? And he bows to him because he knows that, he knows who he is. He knows the importance of his character, right? That's where they kind of get meta again. But I was kind of disappointed in this one because they didn't kill, and this is basically the critics and what people have been saying. They didn't kill like basically anybody good, right? Like people die in the movie, but if you really pay attention, the people that die are extras. Like in the beginning of the movie, it's tradition that some random people are killed off, right? Obviously, in this one, they're killed off. So the first people that are killed, it's this girl, random girl, right? And then it's these two, like after the first girl dies, you see who the killer is, right? And which was, I thought was like, fuck, man, like the beginning of the movie was, for me, it had me, like I was there, like, yeah, I want more. What's next? What's next? And like so he shows his face, you know who he is, and then he starts talking to this friend of his who's like another ghost face killer, right? Like because there's two of them in this case. And but then turns out that they end up getting killed by the real Ghostface killer of the movie, of this movie, right? So that was like the twist in the beginning, right? And it got me hooked. I was like, yeah, I'm on board. Like what's gonna happen? What's next? So then the movie basically, like they didn't bring Sydney Prescott in this movie because I think she had like financial problems, or I don't know. They didn't agree on how much they were gonna pay her, some bullshit like that. But in this case, what ends up happening is that they go with like the lead protagonists in this movie are two sisters, which are the survivors from the last movie. Nothing memorable. I didn't really remember them, so I think and they had a group of friends too. Again, the people that were killed were none of these except one, right? Only I think one of the friends dies. She falls off some ladder and hits her head and dies, and the other friends get stabbed, right? They get stabbed a lot. One of them gets shot, who's curvy. um I counted how many people were supposed to die. There were supposed to be 5 people that were supposed to die according to how this shit went down, right? Gail was supposed to die too, Gail Weathers, and I think they should have killed her off because they killed off Dewey last movie. They should have killed her off this movie because unless they're planning to do something with her character, but her character didn't really have anything. She wasn't really doing anything in this movie. She was just kind of like reporting, and then she just hung back until Ghostface like basically hunted her down, tried to kill her, and I mean he stabbed her, but and she blacked out, right? But like paramedics got there, and I guess they saved her. This dude named Chad, one of the protagonists, his boyfriend, I think her name is Tara. He gets stabbed by two Ghostface killers, right? And he doesn't die. He survives at the end. Kirby, who's like an FBI agent, I thought that was kind of stupid. I didn't really believe that she was an FBI agent. She gets shot like 2 or 3 times, I think, and she doesn't die. One of the protagonists, Tara, also gets stabbed. She doesn't die. And there was somebody else. Oh yeah, one of the girls in the train that gets stabbed. Also, she survives, and actually, like just probably like a couple hours after she got stabbed, she's like literally jumping, like because she's happy that they all survived or something like that at the end of the movie. In this movie, there were 3 Ghostface killers, so I thought that was pretty crazy, and they kind of like played it with the family. The 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 3 Ghostface killers was the father and his 2 children, right? Like the son and the daughter. Those 3 people were the killers, right? The family, and they were basically avenging the death of the son right, from the last movie. Again, not memorable. Don't really remember what happened last movie, but I thought that was creative too. That they got like three Ghostface killers. They said something during the movie which was, we are a franchise now, right? Which immediately reminded me of, and maybe it's because I just recently watched all of them, the Fast and Furious movies, and I remembered that basically a franchise is just the same type of movies over and over again, and I think they have a loyal audience, right? Like if you've watched the Fast and Furious movies, which I think like most of us have, when the new one comes out, you're gonna watch it. I mean, even if you talk like, stupid things about it, and you're like, oh yeah, man, that's fake, like how the fuck is that possible or whatever. I mean, it's still action and it delivers on the action. They say that those movies are good because you feel like the family trope that Vin Diesel works into the movies and whatever, like, yeah, we're all a family, and that kind of separates it from other like action movies. And I mean the stunts are cool. You can't deny that the stunts are cool. The locations are cool too, right? Like they've been basically everywhere, all around the world, and they just keep making more of the same. Scream makes more of the same, right? You already know, you can't criticize this type of movie because I think you already know what's gonna happen, right? There's gonna be a killer, people are gonna die, and then they're gonna find out who the killer was, like Scooby Doo style at the end, right? Which I thought in this movie they kind of did it. They didn't really do it that well, right? Because at the end, um, like they try to trap him, they try to get him some way, but it didn't really make sense how they were gonna get him. In the beginning of the movie, there's also this like scene where like they go into this like quickie or this little like grocery store, like corner store, right? And Ghostface just starts killing motherfuckers, right? Like he shotguns the owner with his own shotgun. He stabs like two dudes that try to beat him down. And yeah, I thought that whole scene was nice. I mean, where I think the movie started going down or started failing potentially was after the whole friends at the house scene, and after that whole scene, um there's this girl who is one of the friends of the group, right? So who supposedly dies, but she ends up being the daughter of the killer, right? Like of the three at the end of the movie. And well, she, like, I guess Ghostface supposedly cut her throat and stabbed her, and then he just kind of throws her at the group in the while they're in the room, and they just like kind of let her drop, like whatever. But you see that I think she has like her throat slit. And then it turns out she's alive, right? So I think the writers were probably planning to bring her back as the killer, as one of the three killers, right? And yeah, and then after that, there's like this park scene where they try to get the killer, like in the park, like publicly or something like that, and then that leads or that oozes into the whole Gale Weathers scene where she fights Ghostface. Ghostface kills her lover who's there, and but again, he's an extra. We didn't even know who that was. I mean, I think that was the first scene in which he appears and he dies, and that's it. Yeah, but then she survives, and they try to lure him into this like shrine or this like trap thing, and yeah, that I think that whole scene was kind of like, you obviously get the monologue, like this one girl says in the movie, you get the killer's monologue, why he did it, his reasons and everything. They're usually angry about something. They want revenge. That was there. Um, but then yeah, like everybody survives at the end. They survive stab wounds and bullet shots, and you're just like, nah, bro. Like if you're going to shoot and stab people, you can't have all of them like survive. So that was kind of like the part that I didn't like. In general, I really did like it. I think it was a good time. I like the New York setting, also the New York setting, the kind of like this psychological working right of narrative where they say there's this part in the beginning of the movie where Ghostface goes like fuck movies and or who gives a fuck about movies, something like that, and he stabs like the person, and then the movie starts. So yeah, like really well developed ideas, mainly in the beginning, but then after like the half mark of the movie, like it just kind of felt kind of lazy. But yeah, in general, I really enjoyed it. I don't know if I would recommend it to go see it at the movie theater. But if you want, yeah, you can go see it. And well, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this review. I'm going to try to talk more about movies and series, just in case you want to hear me rant about them, what I liked, what I didn't like about them. I'm not a movie critic or anything. It's just, common guy's opinion about it. Um, but yeah, if you have anything to say, leave it in the comments. And if you want me to talk about any movie or watch any movie, I can do that too. And I guess I'll see you next movie or series review. Peace.